Hey, what's up guys, Dan Man here, and I'm here with a brand new video, which is the viewer recommendation of lesser known or underrated, so one of those synonyms, anime. I guess that kind of flowed well, not really, but that's okay. This is going to be a great video. Basically what I did was all the comments that people left recommending, a lesser known anime or what an intermediately well-known anime. That's what I called it in the video. I'm going to choose one of each comment, one anime from each comment. So someone commented like 3. I'm gonna choose basically the lesser known, I think, of the 3 or 2 or however many. Some people commented once, a few people commented 2 or 3. But I'm also gonna mention the other ones just to mention them. But I'm gonna talk about the one that I think needs to be talked about more. So since I actually haven't seen the anime yet, I basically went on my anime list and got the synopsis. And I'm going to read the synopsis. I've kind of chopped it up a bit to make it, if it's like really long, I just like put the points that I think really deserve to be in the plot synopsis. And I'm going to read that, and then I'm going to give a couple facts and what I think about the series and what I think is, from what I can tell, unique about it. And if you for some reason didn't see the original video where I talked about my like 5 lesser known or intermediately well-known anime, check that one out after this video, because not necessarily my picks are better than the viewers' picks, but it's good to have a mix. All right, first recommendation is by KBG, and he recommended, or they recommended, I don't know if it's he or she, shouldn't assume, Hajime no Ippo. Now this is a manga made in 1989, and then an anime was later released like 11 years later in 2000 by Madhouse. Now I'm not going to be able to like memorize this whole script, so I'm gonna read the plot synopsis from the screen. Ippo Makunochi, got it, had the shit beat out of him, and a professional boxer passing by stopped them. That was a rough reading. Let me start over. Ippo Makunochi had the shit beat out of him, and a professional boxer passing by saw and stopped them. He then was taken to a boxing gym and became inspired to pursue a career in professional boxing. That wasn't directly from my anime list, but it was inspired by my anime list synopsis. So I've been interested in this series for a while. My good friend Nicholas, he's very into the series. He's caught up to the manga. He's read it. I know the manga is very, very long. It's, 1,000,000,001 chapters long. The anime is a lot shorter, and it's definitely not caught up to the manga. I think it stopped airing in like 2002, so only a couple of years long. So from what I understand, this series is very character focused. So Ippo goes up against an opponent, and you're like, oh, it's just gonna be some opponent. He's gonna beat the shit out of him or get the shit beat out of him, and then move on. But a lot of times the opponent is the focus of the match and has some character development throughout the series, and they're later seen throughout the series. That's from what I understand. I'm not, don't quote me on it, but you can. I said it. I guess you could quote me on it, but it may not be true. But that's what I understand. So it kind of reminds me of Monster, where there's a lot of side characters and they're fleshed out and developed, and I like that. So definitely interested in Hajime no Ippo. And yeah, I just got to get myself to pass the 1,000 billion chapter wall that's kind of impeding me from wanting to start it, but I think I will eventually. I think it make a lot of people happy, including KBG. P. That was a P, not a B. It sounded like a B, but it was definitely a P. So next up are a few different recommendations by a very, very excellent viewer named Cool Name. He's got a very cool name. Legends of the Galactic Heroes, GTO, and Ping Pong. Now the one I chose to talk about out of these 3 is GTO. That's because Legends of the Galactic Heroes is actually commented twice by another person, so I'm going to talk about it from their recommendation. And Ping Pong, I think, is more well-known than both of those, so that's how I came to the conclusion to talk about GTO out of those 3. This one is a manga created in 1996 and then later had an anime created in 1999 by Studio Period. The plot synopsis I have written for this one is 22-year-old Akechi Onizuka has a dream to become the greatest high school teacher in all of Japan. This isn't because of a passion for teaching, but because he wants to live, wants a loving teenage wife when he's old and grave. I don't know how that sounds, but still, for a perverted, greedy, and lazy delinquent, there is more to Onizuka than meets the eye. The class he gets is pretty infamous. Due to their utter contempt for all teachers, the class's students use psychological warfare to mentally break any new homeroom teacher they get, forcing them to quit and leave school. However, Onizuka isn't your average teacher. He is ready for any challenge in his way. So this is definitely a series I've wanted to read and watch for a while. I've heard all about it, and I've had it on my read list specifically. I've thought about reading the manga for a long time. I really like this idea. I think it's really unique, and I don't really know, besides Assassination Classroom, a lot of anime that are focused on the teachers. There's plenty of anime focused on the students, but this one obviously is also not an octopus, and like an Assassination Classroom, it's an actual human. And I like the idea of the students giving the teacher a hard time, and the teacher trying to, in his own way, I assume it's a lot of comedy mixed in and funny, and I assume there's also some drama in it as well. Try to counteract the students with whatever he can. For this one, I think I'd read the manga over the anime first, and if I liked it enough, I'd probably go to the anime next. And I like the old style of the anime, and so that's another thing that would draw me towards the anime, even if I've already read the series. Next up are a couple of recommendations by Blord Petersky, and that is Legends of the Galactic Heroes. I told you it was going to come back. And Vinland Saga. And out of these two, I decided to talk about Legends of the Galactic Heroes because it was previously mentioned, so it was mentioned twice, so it's got to be good. And Vinland Saga, I've seen before, and I love Vinland Saga, and I think a lot of people have seen it over Legends of the Galactic Heroes. I may be wrong, but that's just the vibe I get. Legend of the Galactic Heroes is an old series. It's the oldest out of any of the ones we were talking about, which is surprising because Hajime Ippo is all the way from the 80s, and this one's also from the 80s, but it's even earlier than not even earlier than the 80s. It's an earlier part of the 80s. And it was also based on a novel series originally, which came out in 1982. Then a manga series was started in 1986, and then since then there's been a bunch of different anime adaptations throughout, up until I think the newest one is like from 2017. Actually, it was 2018, and the newest anime was made by Production IG, and I really like that studio, so I think that would be the one I would go to when trying out this series. Like I said, I really like Production IG, and I feel like a newer anime would be easier to get into for myself. And also, Jotaro's voice actor is one of the main characters in this series, which I love Jotaro, as many people know. So let me get to the synopsis. For over a century and a half, two interstellar states have wrestled for control of the Milky Way. The Galactic Empire seeks to suppress the rebels, daring to impose the inviolable crown. Yeah. The Free Planet Alliance. Dude, I sound like I'm illiterate. I can't pronounce these words. Trust me, I know how to read. I graduated college. I know how to read, I swear. The Free Planet Alliance, a representative democracy held by a corrupt high council, degenerate as its elected leaders use war and conflict as a way to win popular support. But this long-standing stalemate between the Empire and the Alliance ends with the rise of two opposing military geniuses. Reinhard von Lohengrin, a minor noble and high admiral of the Empire who is a strategic genius. Meanwhile, Yang Wenli of the Alliance, an avid historian and reluctant commodore, hailed as the hero of El Facile, uses his tactile prowess to navigate around his leader's incompetence and to carve the path to lasting peace. As the war rages on, Reinhardt and Yang each strive for their ideals and to secure their place among the stars as the leaders of a new era of galactic heroes. So that was quite the longer synopsis than the other ones, but I think this is a more complex and involved story in the plot specifically than the other two so far, which I really like. I really like this plot synopsis for this one. It sounds really cool. I like space, and I actually haven't seen a lot of anime set in space. So it'd be cool to try this one out. And it kind of, the two like geniuses kind of remind me of like L and Light vibes. I don't know if that's how it's gonna be, but that's how it gives me vibes from Death Note. But yeah, this one sounds super cool, and I think the newer seasons of it by Production IG are not super long, so that's another plus for me to get into it. All right, and next up is a recommendation by Djibouti Kahoot. I keep whenever I type your name out, I'm like Djibouti Kahootie. I don't know. I'm not trying to bash your name if that's your name or whatever, but I wish it was Djibouti Kahootie. It just kind of flows off the tongue more. Don't change it though. I respect your name choice. But the recommendation is Children of the Whales. This is the newest one out of all the ones we talked about so far. The manga was created in 2013 and it's still ongoing, and there's one season, I think it's 12 episodes of the anime by JC Staff that came out in 2017. The plot synopsis, I'm gonna try to do this one nice and smooth. Is this. That was very smooth, I know. In a world covered by an endless sea of sand, there sails an island known as the Mud Whale. In its interior lies an ancient town where the majority of its inhabitants are said to be marked, a double-edged trait that grants them supernatural abilities at the cost of an untimely death. Interesting. Chikuro is the village archivist. I don't know if it means to say archaeologist, but I have written archivist. I don't know if it's different. Maybe it's different things. For the first time in 6 months, another island crosses the horizon, so Chikuro and his friends join the scouting group. During the expedition, they find vestiges of an archaic civilization, and inside one of the crumbling remains, Chikuro discovers, a girl who will change his destiny and the world inside the mud wheel as he knows it. This is another very unique concept of the series, and I've never heard of this series. I'm really interested in the marked part, where it was like someone is marked, and it gives them like a superpower, but they could have like an untimely death in exchange for it. And also it's set in like a giant desert instead of like a giant ocean, like a lot of anime, you know, one of the biggest anime, One Piece, is set, but so I think that's kind of interesting as well. And the animation for this series is beautiful. It's like a watercolor kind of style, and it looks awesome. I watched the trailer, it was like, oh wow, this is really impressive. So JC staff, good job. And my last recommendations here are by one of my longest time friends on the internet, TV Sonic Gaming. It's Rascal. This one, I can never get the name right, so I'm gonna read it. Rascal does not dream of Bunny Girl Senpai and Teasing Master Takagi-san. Now, out of these two, I chose Teasing Master Takagi-san because I think that Rascal, I think it's just shortened to Rascal, is more well known. Obviously, I've heard of it, and I haven't heard of the second series, so that I think has some merit. So Teasing Master Takagi, the manga came out in 2013 and is still ongoing, and then there was one season of anime made in 2018. And the synopsis is: having a friend that knows you inside out should be a good thing, but in Nishikata's case, the opposite is true. His classmate Takagi loves to tease him on a daily basis, and she uses her extensive knowledge of his behavior to predict exactly how he will react to teasing, making it nearly impossible for I got it right the first time, Nishikata to ever make a successful comeback. Got it. So this one definitely just sounds like a damn good time to watch. Just a fun anime to sit down, blow through. I think it's only 12 episodes long, the first season, or the only season that's out right now. I'm not sure if they're planning on making a season 2. I like these kinds of anime, even though I haven't seen many of them. One of my favorites that I think is like a similar style is Domestic Girlfriend. I watched that with a couple of my friends, and it's just a fun series. It's just funny and enjoyable, and it's especially to watch with friends. So I definitely am gonna check this one out. I just realized that was also 5 recommendations, like my original video. I gave 5 recommendations, so I guess viewers give 5 recommendations that I talked about. They give a few more, but the ones I talked about 5 of them, so that I went together well, I guess. So yeah, definitely I'm interested in all these series, so good job on the recommendations. Very impressed with the viewers. And I hope you guys check out the recommendations as well, and the people that commented, I hope you check out the other people's commented recommendations, and see if you're interested in them as well. And feel free to put more recommendations, anyone that's watching this, down in the comments, and I'll take them into consideration. Maybe I'll make another video of one of these in the future and go back and grab some comments, and because I had fun looking and researching these series, and it gives me more anime to think about watching. So thank you guys so much for watching the video. I really appreciate it. Definitely check out my Twitter and Instagram. Just post about my thoughts on anime, video games, really anything. Just like episodes I just see, or I just got this Gojo. This morning I just bought this Gojo figure, or pre-ordered it. It was like $200. It's like a bit of an impulse buy, but I talked about it on there. So like just things that I'm up to, and I like communicating with others on there as well. Alright, and that's the video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.